one less spark will mean one less wildfire.
That's a slogan that has taken on new meaning this year as blazes rage throughout the West. Many have grown from small flare-ups to billowing conflagrations in a matter of just minutes. These fires can cost millions to fight and more in property damage, to say nothing about the effects to the environment. And that's why a team from across the country has come together not only to put out the flames, but to keep any more from even starting.
I'm with the National Fire and Prevention Team from the Pacific Northwest, and we've all been called in here to help bolster Utah's fire prevention program.
Fire danger this year is extremely high. We had a very wet winter, which led to a very productive growing season. As a result, we have a lot of fine grasses out there, right around 120% of the typical fuel loading, which would be the amount of grass out there. Now we have a lot more folks during the summer season getting out doing their camping and their outdoor activities. So as a result of the additional people out and about, that leads to an increased potential for ignitions.
It is a natural part of the environment. It's a natural part of the ecological system, but what isn't is these unnatural starts by people. So we can't have, say, a vehicle fire from the highway. Like, the landscape isn't used to having 5 fires a year right next to the highway in that one spot. But whereas a lightning that starts a fire in the forest, maybe once in a blue moon, then that's a little bit more natural, and that's a little bit better for the area's natural ecology.
The multi-agency team has come together at the Great Basin Coordination Center in Salt Lake City, Utah, to mobilize resources in the battle against wildfires in the region. Representatives from the Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, Department of Natural Resources, and many others bring their expertise to bear not only in fighting blazes like the one that burned through the Bryan Head area over the last month, but in their prevention as well. Having so many government agencies working together would seem like a recipe for conflict, but in this case, everyone has their sights set on the bigger picture.
So Utah works really well. It doesn't matter if you're federal, state, or local. We all work extremely well together. So whether that's fighting a fire or preventing them, we're all on the same page.
With the fire season well underway and over 800,000 acres burned in 12 states already, the team is currently focusing on public awareness. Generally, we think of campfires as the main danger when it comes to starting wildfires, but in truth, that isn't the case. There is a lot that recreationists can do to prevent sparking the next big blaze.
The majority of our fires are coming from debris burning, they're coming from vehicles, and they're coming from shooting. People aren't aware that a blown out tire could ignite a wildfire, or that maybe even just a dragging safety chain from their trailer produces enough spark to ignite the dry grasses along the roadsides. And this is a result of maybe they're not even aware that their chain was dragging to begin with, and secondly, that it resulted in a fire. Or even more so, they'll have a chain like this one that doesn't have any sort of a latch or a rubber piece to keep it hooked up. So they hit a bump, that hits the ground, and then they're dragging it at whatever speed they're going, and it's sending sparks the whole time. A big one for any motorized equipment, especially on federal and state lands, is that it has a properly installed spark arrestor in the exhaust system. So you want to make sure that that's still in place, it's properly functioning.
It's also important to examine ATVs and other vehicles to make sure that no dry grass has been caught in the undercarriage. The heat of the engine could cause it to catch fire, damaging the machine and potentially starting a larger blaze. Tires should also be checked, since a blowout can cause the rim to scrape the ground and send out sparks in every direction. Performing a standard walk-around before heading out will go a long way in keeping public lands safe from potential wildfire.
The best bet is to go to utahfireinfo.gov. That'll have all of the fire restrictions for the state and a bunch of other preventative tips.
Wildfires are a part of our western ecology and play a role in the rebirth of forests and other landscapes. But as long as we're able to mitigate the role we play in starting unnecessary blazes, that natural cycle will continue, and we'll be able to enjoy recreating on our public lands for generations to come. From the trailhead, I'm Malia Stringham.